Good morning, y'all. It's Thursday morning, early, and I wanted to take some time. We're nearing the end of our Vlogmas Candy Week, marathon week at that, of all the goodies, the nostalgic goodies that a lot of us remember as children. But yesterday, I was in the kitchen, and I was making this recipe we're about to make together only again today. Because what I didn't know was as I was filming, I said, okay, I'm gonna take a break. Made some coffee and I take my phone off the tripod and it reads to me in a white block. Storage full, stopped recording. Storage is what? I'm like, no, I delete my videos because I don't know what else to do with them. They're supposed to go to a cloud. So I said, oh, I'm safe. Well, I looked in my photos and I didn't see much of anything except just photos. And I'm Googling. Well, at this point, I call my cell phone carrier, Verizon. And I was on hold a long time. And this nice gentleman informs me that even though you delete, there's actually a folder. Yeah, I didn't get that memo. And that folder holds everything that you delete. And you have to permanently delete it. Now, it goes to the cloud if you have enough cloud. Well, obviously, I didn't have enough cloud. So when my cloud got full, it stayed in this folder. I said, uh-oh. So he had to walk me through how to delete the videos from this folder, which then freed up my storage again. But in the meantime, he advised me to pay a fee every month, $5, I think, to allow iCloud storage, like a whole lot. Like he said, you should be just fine. Because I told him I'd do YouTube videos. And I bet he was thinking, and you didn't know you had a folder? No, I just click record and off. That's the extent of my knowledge. And that's good enough. So that's why y'all woke up this morning wondering, well, where is Lippy's video? Well, it's not in the cloud. It's not in save. It was in a hidden folder and it's been permanently deleted. So what I did is I shared what we're about to make, which is very nostalgic. Well, you could make it nostalgic. But before we get into the recipe, I just have to share Mama's Box of Treasures. And you guys that's tuned in and you don't want to hear the story, just slide and fast forward. But we have a lot of new friends and a lot of old friends may have not known the story of where that playlist, Mom's Box of Treasures, originated from. It's because, and let me get this out of my way, in this box is my mom's box of treasures. But it was not always in this box. It actually was housed in a green shoebox and the lid set under the box. And in our eat-in dining room, in the kitchen area, there was like a bar that divided the dining room to the living room, and there was 3 cabinets. Well, that particular chair by that bar was where my mom always sat. And in that far cabinet was a green shoebox that she'd pull out that was full of old recipes. And she would go through them. Well, when she moved in with me in 1994, her and my dad sold their home. She gave me that box. And I immediately said, this is my treasure chest. Mom's Box of Treasures. And it was not long after that when I moved to North Louisiana from South Louisiana with my dad, because my mom only lived 16 weeks with me. And it's actually a humorous story embedded leading from when they moved into her passing. My daughter had just got out of Children's Hospital. So her and my daughter got the master bedroom. It was massive too. And so my daughter had a hospital bed like on the west wall looking to the east. And my mom had her hospital bed with the back on the east wall looking to the west. So they could see each other and conversate. Which made it easier for me to tend to both of them. And then they both had home health. And then my dad had the smallest room. When I tell you a small room, and my dad's a big man, he had the smallest room. And he was recovering from prostate cancer. So between the aunts and uncles and the cousins, and there was always laughter. But it was shortly after I had moved to North Louisiana to be close to my sister for help with my dad. She was changing her kitchen from fruit to, I can't remember what. So that was around 95, 96 is what I'm guessing. Well, she asked me if I wanted the fruit. I said, absolutely. I'm going to make my kitchen fruit. Now, that didn't last long. I never was a themed person. I'm very eclectic. If I like it, I display it. I don't necessarily have a theme, and as a lot of you know, some don't. I'm very colorblind, guys. I get by. and I ask a lot of questions to my daughter. Just saying. But anyway, this was one of the fruit gifts that she gifted me, which is a photo box, heavy. And I said, you know, that green shoebox is so tattered, and it's been taped in every kind of tape imaginable. I'm going to turn it into Mama's recipe box. And that's what I did. Well, fast forward to around 2012, I think it was. My mother-in-law had come over, and I was going through a whole box, because this is just a few. These are some of the oldest ones that we'll get into in a minute. And I said, I sure wished there was a way, because the wording is fading the more you touch it. And I don't want to use a photo album, because in humidity areas, and that's what we're in, I didn't want that photo film to stick and damage the recipes. And she says, well, why don't I rewrite them? Now, a lot of them have no title, okay? So it's kind of a guess of what that recipe is supposed to be. And there was a few words in Cajun French. My mother spoke Cajun French fluently. My whole family did. So we had to kind of work around those words and translate to find out what the recipe was. I think it took her 3 months. Well, here's one stack. Now, she put a rubber band to hold each stack. Oh, well, over the years, let's just say, the rubber bands have disappeared. So there is a lot of loose index cards, and I will organize them one day, but I actually enjoy just sitting with coffee and just going through Mom's Box of Treasures. But here, I took some of the oldest ones in this. It says recipes, but you could write your own recipes in here. And this is one of my mom's recipes. And then throughout, and I mean, this book is old, guys. And I don't know, she didn't write a whole lot through here. I think it was at the beginning. But what she did was she used these little envelopes. And she would save clippings. So I've always left those in those envelopes. But for instance, you remember the liners that was in pie pans? And they would have recipes, such as this. Well, my mom, she loved recipes. So if she found one that she loved, and out of the newspaper too, she would just cut it out and save it. There was a barbecue chicken, a shrimp creole. Oh, look, I don't even remember seeing this. This is another lemon fluff pie and coffee liqueur pie. Save 15 cents on any side of la creme. It doesn't have a date. I wished it did. But no date. So this is very, very special to me. And so is the recipes, and a lot of them I've shared with you guys. But let's get into just a few, and then we'll move to the video. Y'all remember the old Hershey cocoa fudge. Now, I don't know what kind of paper this is on. It's been taped. But that is the original Hershey's cocoa fudge. This sat actually on the side of the icebox as long as I can remember growing up, as well as my mom's hot rolls. Now, I've made these a couple of times here with you guys, and they're good, but they're not her hot rolls. I don't know if she left something out or if it was just the touch of her hands. But these were made every Sunday, pretty much every Sunday, because we would have the whole family, cousins, aunts, uncles, and all. It was a big celebration after church to go to mom's and eat. But these sat on the side of the icebox. Now, this could have sat when my sister and brother was at home. I don't know. I was born many, many, many years behind them. So these recipes mean so much to me. Here is, and I know y'all remember this paper from the old typewriters that you had to one finger punch. This is those red hot cucumber rings that we've done a couple of times together. Well, I actually made a copy of this and I put it in a clear film, and it's actually on the icebox because I make it every year. But like I said, I don't know what kind of paper, but this was my Aunt Hazel's recipe. So these recipes, guys, they date way back. My sister and brother were born 1947, 48, and then 50, right? 48 and 50? 47 and 50 is when my siblings were born. And then little pieces of paper like this. So one day we'll go through all of these. Hang on, and a paper bag. So, you know, hey, my mom wrote on anything she could get her hands on. What was this? Cranberry salad. Oh, that'd be a perfect recipe for this year. Huh. And it was my Aunt Margie's recipe because it says Margie on here on a paper bag. So when y'all hear me talk, Mom's box of treasures. This is the box of treasures. And this box is so sturdy that I will be able to pass this down to my daughter, and then she can pass it to her daughter, our oldest grand. So this has now become Mom's box of treasures. I'm gonna have to fix it where the lid will sit down. And so, yeah, My sister didn't realize when she gave me this what I was going to turn it into. So yeah, very, very special. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. And the reason why I brought up the old Hershey's Cocoa Fudge is because I made some yesterday. And what I like to do is I take that freezer labels because they peel right off, and I wrote fudge. This is a butter mold that I won, gosh, dog, 6, 7 years ago. And I've never made butter in this thing. I just made butter. But it just didn't seem like a full stick of butter to me. But what it does is you can pour your fudge in it, let it sit up, pop it out, and it gives you the perfect, I don't think y'all can see, the perfect lines in that fudge to slice it. And then you have the perfect bite. And then I take the time and I wrap each one. I don't have any candy paper. I looked at Walmart last week when I went, the first of this week. Y'all, it's been a busy week. Anyway, I just use saran wrap and it works fine. That's what I did for years until they came out with candy wrappers. But it keeps each piece so someone can grab and the hands are not touching the other fudge. And if you had red or green, that would be cool for the holidays. And it just keeps it moist. The perfect old original fudge. Matter of fact, y'all want the recipe? And I can tell you how to make it real quick. I imagine y'all all have it, but just in case. And like I said, I apologize. You can fast forward to what we're going to make. But it's 2/3 cup cocoa, 3 cups sugar, 1/8 teaspoon salt, 1.5 cups milk. And you can use milk or you can use evaporated milk. But my mom always just used milk. 1/4 cup butter, which is, what, 3 tablespoons, I think? 3 tablespoons. And 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now, you want to blend that cocoa and that sugar dry. Then add your salt. And you want to really blend it before you add your milk. If not, that cocoa will never, ever dissolve. So once you have that sugar, cocoa, and salt well combined, add your milk. And this is in a heavy bottom pot. You don't need a hunker. I would say a 6 to 8 quart because it will bubble up and burn you. Add your milk. Blend it well, then put it onto your heat, reserving your butter and your vanilla to the side, and have you a buttered pan. I use an 8x8 dish, and I actually line mine with parchment paper. You can line it with foil, but you want to butter it lightly. So when you put it on that heat, you're going to cook this on medium heat. Blend it. As it starts to warm up, add you a thermometer, a candy thermometer on medium heat, and you're going to stir it because you don't want it to scorch. Once it comes to that boil, you're not going to stir it. You're going to reach, or you're looking to reach. Fudge is very finicky in high humidity. It can be done if you keep your house cool, but you really need your humidity 65% or lower. That's just my experience. You're gonna pull that fudge, you're gonna add the butter and the vanilla, and you're not gonna stir it. You're gonna set it to the side, and you're gonna allow it to cool down to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't go below that or it's going to harden on you. That's when you're going to beat that butter and vanilla in once it drops to that 115 Fahrenheit degree. And when that sheen, gloss, shine starts going away, pour that fudge into your 8x8 buttered dish. Walk away and let it set up. So it's not chalky, it's not gummy, it's just a good fudge. And that's what fudge is. Just old-fashioned fudge. So let's get into the video. And I think some of you are going to be surprised. A lot of us remember the Brock's Neapolitan coconut candy. Well, that's very achievable. Now, it's a little time consuming getting your layers. So we're going to make it, but we're going to make it into balls, and then I'm going to show y'all how you can actually make it into the small balls, flatten and do your layers, let the candy harden up, and then you have Brock's Neapolitan coconut candy. But do y'all see what's in front of me? The only thing that y'all will probably do different is y'all will probably choose strawberry over raspberry. I'm allergic to strawberry, so I can have raspberry, which is odd. Or you could do the cherry. So to achieve the red I'm looking for, 1 drop of red food coloring. The green is going to be lime jello, okay? I'm going to add a little bit of green. So that is my 2 jellos, and I have a box in each. Now, my stores cannot carry for some reason, and I've asked and asked for the fine coconut. All they have is just the shredded coconut. Well, that's what I have to work with. But if you can find the finer shred, that works better in your mixture. So we have 1 box of flavored jello, which is raspberry, 1 box of lime flavored jello. I'm gonna add a 1/2 can of condensed milk. Make sure I'm at a 1/2 can. It's about right. And then I'm gonna add the other 1/2. I'm gonna blend this very well. I mean, very well. You could use a whisk, but it wants to stick to the whisk. So I found by just taking my time and using just a spatula, or you can just use a spoon, it blends it well. But you want it very blended. And that's gonna take just a second to get all of that jello dissolving. The Grinch green again, but I want it a little bit darker. 1.5 cups of sweetened, yes, sweetened coconut. Dry coconut, you know, in the bag. 1.5 cups. Y'all, my mixing bowl, ooh. Why didn't I get my big bowls out, y'all? That's because they're in the dishwasher from yesterday. Yeah, that's why. Oh boy. I should have pulled them out and hand washed them, but I wanted to add the rest of these dishes so I could run a full load. Now the fun begins. You're just gonna scoop, in any size. This is a small 1 inch. And I like to work with 1 color unless I had 2 scoops. And you're just going to roll it in your hand. And then you're gonna just roll it around in coconut. But like I said, this is where you would have the finer coconut. If you can find it. It used to be in a can, but my Walmart didn't have it. And we're gonna set it on a lined cookie sheet, just like that. They're done, guys. I got 17 each. Now you can get a lot more if you make them smaller. So I'm gonna get these over into the ice box. Whoops. 2 to 3 hours before we can enjoy them. So I'm gonna set them in the ice box, and then we're gonna move to the Neapolitan, the Brocs. I'm gonna show you. Here's my leftover coconut. You see it's kind of pink. I'm gonna toast it in the oven, let it cool and dry, and I'm gonna put it into a Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna use this either in my coconut chess pie. I mean, you can use, you know, toasted coconut in anything. And if I don't use it in the next couple of days, I'm just gonna set it into the freezer and it will be fine. But don't throw it away just because it's got a color to it. But here we go. So let's say, and this is really Miss Sheila because you've said it like 3 times this week. We're gonna make the Brocs Neapolitan coconut bites. Or you can make a bar, but the bites is best. 3 boxes of the no flavor gelatin. 1 box, a half a can of condensed milk, a cup and a half of coconut. Mix it all together and leave it white. We're gonna move to the pink color. Box of clear gelatin, cup and a half of coconut, a half a cup of condensed milk, and then add you a couple of drops of red food coloring. There's your pinkish red. So the white and red's done. Now we're gonna move to the chocolate layer. No flavor, clear gelatin. Start off with 4 teaspoons of cocoa and probably 3 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Blend those 3 together. Powdered sugar, cocoa, clear, no flavor gelatin. Taste that and see if it's got that little bit of sweetness to, you know, take away the bitter of the cocoa. Then add your half a cup of condensed, cup and a half of coconut, shredded sweetened coconut. Mix that. Now, you've got all 3, your pink, your white, and your chocolate. I'm just gonna use these 2 balls as an example because I was actually making these coconut balls for our little Christmas party this Sunday. So we're just gonna pretend that there's 3 here. You're gonna, and you want it small. You want a very small ball. It almost would look like a snowman, guys. Look, there's 2, we just need 3. I'm gonna take the back of this. Now you see I didn't roll it in coconut. And we're just gonna mash. Like I said, you want them smaller. But can you imagine if you had the chocolate? So you'd have the chocolate, white, because the white's always in the middle, and then your pink. And then you could square them. Let me show you. This is fun for grandkids, guys. Kids, adults, and mash, because you don't want to mash too much to where it bleeds into each other. You want to see the layers. And it's just fun. Now, you can also make red, white, and blue. Yes, you sure can. So you can make this Hanukkah. Blue, that light blue and white. But if you're trying to reach that Brocs candy, just use the no flavor. Because it's really the coconut you're tasting, except the only true flavor that's in there is the cocoa. So there you go. So just imagine a 3rd color. So that's how you would do it, Miss Sheila. They're out the ice box. I actually let them go about 3.5 hours. I'm gonna take the smallest one, and then I'm gonna store them in a candy container. Now you can keep them in your ice box, but they do fine. Where did my candy go? Y'all, what did I do with my candy? Oh, I left it on the board. I said, where did my candy go? Like y'all know, y'all can't see down here. But I just store mine in an airtight candy container. But yes, this is our coconut treats. And like I said, if you want to go way back, you can make the Brocs using the clear, no flavor gelatin, jello. But instead of making the squares, I got to thinking, guys, let me set my candy down. If we took, because I've not done that, I've just tried to make the squares. Scoop it out, roll it about that long, each color, square them off, mash them together. So I'd go about, well, you could probably roll about like this. I don't know, 6 inches. You don't want to go too long. Square them off, mash them together, then cut them into the little squares. Then you got your chocolate, your white, and then your pinkish red. And then set them into the ice box. 2-3 hours. You could go up to 6 if you wanted to. But I got to thinking, you know, that's even easier than rolling that ball, pressing it down. I don't know, it was just coming to me. Because I know, Miss Sheila, you want to make those. So y'all roll into like a little snake, mash them together. Well, not funky, but you know, mash them together, square them off, and then cut them. Then you have your perfect square. Yes, indeed. All right, I've got to get one. I'm actually working on tomorrow's finale. Y'all. Now the lime's not limey. Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna end and get my coconut balls lined up in here, and I do put parchment paper in between them, and I mix the colors. I mix reds and greens, put a layer, and so forth. But guys, this has been a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'm so glad that you took time out of your day to spend it with me, going back in time, making some of the nostalgic, delicious candies, because they really are delicious. But as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And I will see you guys tomorrow at the finale.